Happy Friday, everyone. Nice to see those names and hope you guys are ready to move a little bit. For anybody who might be picking this up as a later on recording, I'm Rachel, physical therapist and Pilates instructor here in the local area, Palo Alto, Redwood City, and the surrounding area. We've got a 45-minute flow style mat Pilates class, little balance, little core, actually a lot of core. Hip, shoulder, what have you. We're going to work the entire body. Only equipment you really need are your mat and maybe a towel roll to put under your knees when we are on hands and knees. I want you to move through at your own pace. Because it's a flow style class, we're not going to be doing any one exercise for a prolonged period of time. But if there is anything that doesn't feel particularly comfortable for you, feel free to modify. I'll try to give a couple of progressions. Feel free to choose through one of those. But if there is something that doesn't feel great on any part of your body, don't suffer through it. Stop, modify a bit on your own, and then feel free to chat with me briefly after class. I'm happy to stick around for a couple extra minutes, but let's get moving. We're going to start on our mats. I'll start my timer for 45 minutes as soon as I get up to that standing position. All right. Timer is starting now. We're going to start with our feet apart from each other, a little wider than our shoulders, and let's point those toes comfortably out to the sides. If we extended a diagonal line along from those toes, they would be pointing right to the bottom corners of the room where the wall and ceiling meet. Wall and floor. Let's shift our weight back toward the heels. It's been a long week. We're going to settle into our little comfortable stance here. We'll soften the knees up a bit. Let's shift our weight toward the big toe and then back toward the heel, and just appreciate how those muscles turn on and off through the entire lower half of the body as we shift forward and back. Little work through the toes, little work through the glutes, maybe a little work through those inner thighs and a little work through that belly area as we move back toward those heels. We're going to pause with the weight right between our ankle bones here. And let's picture a string at the crown of the head drawing us up to the ceiling, and that same string dropping a plumb line right between those ankle bones. We're going to hold here, draw the belly and spine gently toward each other like we're tightening a little seatbelt of muscles. If you poke your fingertips in around that waistline, we're going to feel some muscles tighten once we get through our superficial soft tissues. Let's take our hands down by our sides and just roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Some nice, gentle shoulder circles. You can take them, make them as big or as small as you want to. Rolling back, a little crunching through there is normal. Let's switch and we'll reverse. Let's go the other direction, up to the ears, forward toward that screen, and then down. Circle for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to take a big breath in now. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, arms come down. Again, big breath in, arms come up. Clasp those palms and let's press into the ceiling as we drop our shoulders down. We're going to get a nice long stretch to the outsides of those armpits. And let's take a tall side bend up toward each top side of the room, taking care to try to keep the lower half of the body nice and still as we move. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to pause in our side bend. Take those fingers away from each other, point them toward that corner. We're going to drop the arm on the side that we're reaching toward down by that ankle. And then we'll reach it toward our opposite foot. Lengthen the fingers away from each other. Feel that top side of the body working to hold you up nice and still. Inhale, arms up. We're going to clasp them again. Take that side bend. Unweight those hands. Unclasp those hands and then reach that arm down by the ankle. We can reach toward our opposite foot. Fingertips coming away from each other. Feel that length through the opposite side. Inhale, arms up to the ceiling. As we exhale, we'll bring them out toward a T. Try to line the fingers up with those shoulders. If we need to take them down a little lower for comfort, that's fine. Hold them here. And we're going to make some little circles on the wall out to either side. We're working those deltoids, those main bulk of the shoulder muscles a little bit here. Try to keep the core engaged in that upper body nice and still except for those arms. Let's circle the other way. Feel the ball spin in the socket as we circle. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach those fingertips away from each other. Big breath in. Exhaling, we'll take our arms down, shake everything out a touch, and we're going to bring our feet in. Heels are now lined up underneath our sit bones, and our center of gravity is right over the very front of those ankle joints. If you were wearing shoes, you'd feel the weight right over the shoelaces here. We'll take our hands to our midsection. Let's keep our weight right where it is over those ankles, and we're going to lift our toes. Appreciate how your arches lift up a little higher from the floor when those toes are lifted. The base of the big toe and pinky are still pressed into the floor. We're warming up those arches now. We're going to be doing some balancing toward the end of class. Take the pinky toe, then the fourth, third, second, and finally that big toe down to the mat. Repeat through. Warm up those little muscles that live within the foot. Here's 4. Tap for 3, 2, and 1. As that big toe presses into the floor, we're going to shift our weight toward the toes and toward the heels within the base where we can keep those feet flat on the floor. The heels don't lift and the toes don't lift. Everything stays pressed into that mat. Maybe we soften our knees up a bit as we come back toward the center. Fingertips come to the waistline, and now we're going to push our weight from side to side, transferring the load from one foot to the other. Feel the muscles in the core kick in a little bit differently from each other as we load one side and switch as we load the other. Gravity is doing this to us. Our body's reaction to gravity is doing this to us. We don't have to think too hard about what that core is doing when. We're just paying attention to it. Circle around that base now. Same deal. Stay within the range where we can keep that whole foot on the floor. And we'll circle it the other way. Here's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Let's shift our weight back over the middle of the ankles. Hands come down, shake those knees out. We're going to widen up our base again. This time the feet are directly under those shoulders. Feet are parallel to each other. We're going to take our hands to right where the femurs, thighs fold into the pelvis. Let's tip that tailbone back and the breastbone forward toward the floor. We're going to move forward till we get a little bit of resistance through the back of the thighs, maybe a little stretch, maybe a little bit of activity in those gluteal muscles here. Softening the knees a touch more. We're again going to shift our weight from foot to foot. And instead of noticing our core now, we're going to feel our buttock muscles kick into our hands as we load one side. And then we switch as we load the other. Take it side to side. Those knees are only bent 10 to 20 degrees. The tailbone's way back, our weight's over the front of the ankle. Shift for 4, for 3, good job. Here's 2, and here's 1. Coming right back to the middle, we're gonna take our hands, extend them down toward the mat. We've got 90 degrees at the shoulders. Those arms are nice and perpendicular to the floor. We're gonna row, squeeze those shoulder blades together, elbows tuck in right by the waistline, and then we'll release the hands toward the mat. Squeeze and row, release, squeeze and row, and release. Here's 4, 3, last 2. Squeeze and hold, press those arms straight back behind the body, warm those triceps up, bend, press them straight, bend. Last 4, warm up the backs of the arms in preparation for bearing weight through them as we bring ourselves down to the floor in just a second. We're going to take our hands right to those glutes. We'll stand up nice and tall, shake those legs out one more time, and we're going to make our quarter turn till we're lengthwise on that mat. And let's back up to the back edge. If you do need a little towel roll padding for your knees, go ahead and grab it now before we make our way down to the mat. We'll take our hands right back to that fold. We're going to tip the body forward again, find that stretch point behind the thighs. And this time with the hands on the hips, we're just going to wiggle into that stretch. Lengthen out those hamstrings, send that tailbone up toward the back wall. Point the tip of that tailbone toward the ceiling. Wiggle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take our hands to the mat and bend the knees as much as we need to get ourselves right down to all fours. If you have that rolled towel for padding, it goes right up at the top of the shin, right before the kneecap. We're going to try to keep the balls of the feet pressed into the floor here, and let's rock the bottom back toward the heels, and then take it right back up to all fours. Again, rock that bottom back, take it up to all fours. If we had something balanced on the small of the back right now, we should be able to keep it balanced even as we change our orientation here. And now we'll ditch that object that's on the back, curl the belly toward the spine, round that low back to catch, look toward those thighs, and then reverse, lengthen the tailbone toward the ceiling, bringing that breastbone forward. Curl, release and reverse. One more time, curl, release and reverse. We'll take our body right back to neutral, keeping the upper half of the body still. We're gonna wag our tail side to side, bring a hip toward the screen, and then switch it up toward that opposite wall. Rock it side to side. There's 4, here's 3, 2, and 1. Take it back to the middle. We're gonna turn the tops of the feet toward the floor. Our feet come together, the knees come apart, and let's take our bottoms all the way back down toward those heels as we walk our hands forward. We want to find that first point of stretch or resistance under the arms and through the sides of the trunk. If we have a little more slack to take out, we can walk those hands forward a little more with straight elbows. If you need to enter a little slack into the system, go ahead and bend those elbows now. Wherever we are, maybe we can get our forehead down toward the floor. We're gonna wiggle through our trunk, take that armpit closest to the screen, lower it down toward the mat. Reverse, take the other side down as we lift that first side up. Rotate, take it side to side. Here's 4, switch for 3, for 2, and for 1. Coming right back to the middle. Everyone gets to bend their elbows now. Let's shift our weight over those forearms. Take the legs back behind the body, and we're gonna rest on our upper thighs here. Hold it here. Keep that belly engaged. Keep those shoulder blades pressed toward the floor. We're gonna feel some tightening under those armpits, right to the outsides of our shoulder blades. Let's bend a knee, the one closest to the screen. Bring that heel toward the bottom. Feel the front of the thigh lengthen out. Straighten it out. Switch it up. We'll revisit these later on in class. Let's just assess the mobility and flexibility through the front of the thighs as we start our class. And we'll see how it changes as we move through. Wiggle for 4, bend and straighten for 3, last 2, and 1. Feet come down. We're gonna take our far arm, tuck it through toward the screen, and let's make our way over to our backs. Line the heels up with those sit bones, and we're gonna keep our hands right down by our sides as we take a big breath in. Breathing out, we're gonna reset our belly toward our spine. We're gonna nod the chin gently toward the neck to lengthen out the back of that neck, and we're gonna lower our breastbone gently down toward the floor. Hold it there. Keeping our breath nice and regular, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. We're gonna picture that clock face on our abdomen and pelvis. Take that pubic bone, think about shortening it toward the breastbone, rocking it toward 12 o'clock. If you had a bowl of water on your pelvis, it would be sloshing towards your face right now. Let's reverse. Everything stays still except for that pelvis. Drop that tailbone towards 6 o'clock. Slosh that bowl of water towards your hips. Repeat. Curl to 12, flattening that back a bit. Keep those glutes relaxed if you can. Release. Reverse to 6. One more time. Curl and slosh that water toward 12. Uncurl, slosh the water toward the hips for 6. Take it back to neutral. Now those hips are going to go side to side. Rock the pelvis toward the screen and away, pushing through your feet to keep those thighs parallel to each other as that pelvis moves. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. One more time, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Take that pelvis right back to the middle. We'll keep the belly engaged. We're going to float our arms up to the ceiling, and keeping everything else nice and still, raise those shoulder blades up to the ceiling. Feel the muscles on the outsides of those blades activating. Lower those blades to the floor. Reach them up, lower them down. We're going to keep this going. If we want to challenge this a little bit further, let's bring one knee up to tabletop and then the other to meet it if we can. Reach and lower the blades. Here's 8, 7. We could always pull those knees a touch closer to the shoulder to take a little bit of leverage off of that core. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. We're going to lower those blades. Let's take our hands to the front of the thighs. We're going to add a little bit of isometric resistance. Nothing moves. We press the hands and the thighs toward each other. Breathe in, exhale. Keeping that pressure through the hands, we'll inhale, straightening the legs toward the ceiling. Exhale and bend to tabletop. Repeat, moving through a range where we can keep that pelvis nice and still. If your hamstrings get tight at a certain point, it's going to pull that pelvis into a tilt. We want to try to avoid that. So if that means coming in just shy of straight legs, that's okay. Let's straighten those knees as best we can. Again, with that pelvis staying nice and still, we'll keep the belly engaged and we'll hover our hands in front of us. We're going to move into our 100 breaths. If we need to bend the knees or place a kickstand down, either of those is fine. We're going to take our big breath in for 2, 3, 4, 5. Pat the hands down with the breath. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Keep that pattern going at a pace that's working for you. Pause. We can extend those legs a little further if we want to challenge it more. Inhale. We could take those knees back to tabletop for a little bit of a step back. You want to keep that core engaged. Breathe it in. And exhale. Flip those palms over, press the air to the ceiling. 3 more breaths. Breathe it out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe it out. Pause where we are, pull those knees toward tabletop and flip the palms toward the floor. We're gonna pull the knee farthest from the screen into the chest. Let's lengthen our opposite leg out toward the wall in front. We're gonna keep that quad nice and tight, that knee nice and straight as we lower our leg down to a hover. Keep the core engaged, lift that straight leg up halfway up the wall, lower to the hover. Inhale and lift, exhale and lower. Twice more. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower to hover. Keep that core engaged as we breathe in. And we're gonna switch those legs on the exhale. Opposite knee pulls in. Stretch that other leg straight, tighten up the quad, tighten up that thigh. We'll lower with control through that trunk down to the hover. Inhale, lift that leg halfway up the wall. Exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. Exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. Exhale, we're gonna lower to the hover, hold it there. That straight leg now is gonna go side to side, out away from midline and then back to the start. Exhale away, inhale to start. Twice more. To center. Last time, exhale away, inhale, center. Switch up those legs, keeping that core engaged. Opposite leg presses to the hover. And let's take it side to side toward the screen and back to midline for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hold it there. Keep that breastbone drawn down, the middle of the back pressed into the floor. We're going to alternate through our legs. Pull to the center, press and reach forward. Pull to the center, press and reach forward. Keep that going, keep that trunk still. If you want to keep one hand on your abdomen to monitor, making sure that belly's staying drawn to the spine, you are welcome to. We're going to switch here for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Keep that knee closest to the screen, drawn into the chest, pull it with your hands. We'll slide that hovered leg all the way down to the mat, keeping the core engaged. And now we're going to draw that bent knee across the body and away from the screen. Wiggle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it to the center. Hang on behind that thigh. Let's straighten up into our hamstring stretch. Again, find that point where you can keep the nice stretch behind the thigh, but keep that pelvis nice and still, nice and neutral. We go through the ankle, flex and point. Point those toes and wiggle the ankle side by side. We're getting to all the connective tissue around that lower part of that sciatic nerve here. Point the toes. Let's take our arms to the ceiling and drop those legs down. Take that lifted leg out to the screen. Hip bones stay pointed up toward that ceiling like headlights. Side to side with the leg. Twice more. And 1. Out to the side, back to the center. Keep that leg where it is. Draw the belly in. We're going to hover our supporting leg up off the mat and then press it down to the floor. Inhale and lift. Exhale and lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Take the hands to the floor and we're going to sweep through some circles. Draw those circles on the ceiling. Keep that cheek nice and still on the side of the moving leg. We have 2 more circles this way. Pause at the top, breathe it in. As we exhale, we'll take it the other direction. Here's 4. And 3. Last 2, good job. Pause at the top. Let's hug that knee into the chest. Stir it in the socket a little bit. We'll pull it back to the middle, re-engage that core, big breath in. Switch them up on the exhale. Other knee pulls into the chest. Slide that leg all the way out straight. We're going to pull our bent knee across the body and toward the screen. Give it a little wiggle. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's pull right back to the center. Hang on behind the thigh. Extend that knee, bringing that leg up for our hamstring stretch. And we'll flex and point our toes. Point those toes, wiggle them toward the screen and away. Keep those toes pointed to the ceiling. Hands lift up toward the ceiling, drop those blades to the floor. Keeping the pelvis still, we'll take that lifted leg out toward the wall, back toward the center. Exhale away. Inhale to center. Exhale away. Inhale, center. One final time, exhale away. Inhale, center. We're going to press our hands at the floor. Lift and lower that supporting leg. Maybe we cross our arms over the chest. Lift and lower. Feet are down. Press the hands into the floor. We'll move to our circles. Reach those toes up to your rafters. Here's 3. Here's 2. Maybe we challenge it. Make that circle 1 inch bigger. Pause at the top. Big breath in. On the exhale, take it the other way. Here's 4. 3. 2. And 1. Give that knee a hug into the chest. Stir it in its socket just a touch. And then coming back to the middle, keep the core engaged as we bring our other knee to the chest. We'll switch our grip to behind the thighs and we'll guide those legs back up to our tabletop position, taking the hands down to the mat. Let's walk our hands out to about a 45-degree angle away from the middle of the body. We're going to widen our collarbones away from the center and press those shoulder blades toward the floor. Let's slowly extend those knees, bringing our feet to the ceiling, and we can bring our ankles toward each other as well. Using those hands on the mat for counterbalance, we're going to rock both feet toward our screen, maybe lifting that opposite hip up off the floor. Inhale back to the ceiling and exhale, rotate, side bend, or lengthen over to that other side and take it to the top. Rotate toward the screen, inhale to the center. Rotate toward the screen, inhale to the center. Let's bring our hands back by the body. We're going to hover them up off the floor and let's rotate those hips. Make some circles on the ceiling in opposite directions of each other. Twice more this way. And last one, pause at the top, take that breath in. As we breathe out, circle the other way. Here's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Hands come to the floor, bend up those knees. We're going to flex our feet and bring the arms to the ceiling. Drop the blades to the floor. Decide if you need a little assistance. We can pull those knees a little closer to the chest. Reset that belly to the spine. And one at a time, we're going to lower a heel toward the floor and lift it up. Switch to the other side and lift. Let's roll through here at a pace that works for you. Alternate through. Here's 8. 7. Maybe we add an opposing arm back behind the body as we stretch a leg forward. Here's 4. 3, 2, and 1. Take them back to the center. We're going to exhale, draw the belly down. We could keep one leg moving at a time, or we could lower both heels at the same time and then lift them back up. Ultimate goal is for that pelvis to stay still and that back to stay nice and still. If we want to take it a step further, arms go back as the heels come down. We'll inhale to our start. Repeat here for 4. Repeat for 3. Inhale. Last 2. Last one, we're going to lower our heels. Keep some activity in that core as we reach those arms back overhead. We're going to snow angel our arms out to the sides, down by the trunk, palms face the ceiling. Repeat, exhale, arms out to the side. Inhale them overhead. Exhale them out to the side. Take them down by the body. One more sweep through those snow angel position. Arms come out and take them over and overhead. Exhale them out. Take them down by the sides. Flip those palms to the floor. Our toes come back to the mat and we're going to inch our heels a little closer to those rear ends. Keeping the core engaged, we're going to prepare for bridging. Move through at a pace that works for you. We have 6 repetitions of each exercise before we move on to the next. We'll take some breathers between sets. Let's take a big breath in. Breathing out, draw the belly to the spine. Press through those heels, lift up into bridge. Let's take it down. Repeat, press and lift. If you feel strain in your back, you could move your heels a little closer to that bottom, or we could simply shorten the range that we're lifting. Don't lift up quite as high. I've got 3. I've got 2. I've got 1. You may. They're right over in the corner. Good. We're going to hold up at the top here. Press those hands into the floor. Lift those hips to the ceiling. Lift it up and down. Awesome. Heels come up. Heels come down. No worries. Heels lift up. Heels come down. Repeat. We've got 2 more. Lift those heels. Lower those heels, keep those glutes lifted. We're gonna pulse them to the ceiling after drawing the belly a little closer to the spine. Press those hips and lift for 6, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in at the top. Exhale with control and we'll lower down to the mat. Good job. Once those glutes hit the floor, we can release them. Hands are out to the sides. We'll rock those knees toward the screen and away. Good. Keep it going. One more big breath in as we rock those knees side to side. Exhale to the other side. Let's take those knees back to the ceiling. Hands come right in by the body. We'll inch those heels a touch closer to our bottoms as we breathe in again. Belly to spine as we exhale. Let's press back up into our bridge. Keeping those hips lifted, we're going to keep our feet flat on the floor, including those big toes. Press the knees out to the side. Bring them back to the center. Hips stay the same level as those knees open and close. 4 more. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Bring those knees together. Hips stay lifted, 1 knee at a time. Presses out. Start toward the screen. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, center. We have 5 more on each side, moving at a pace that's working for you. If you want to challenge it further, those arms come up to the ceiling. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Knees come toward each other, hands to the floor, big breath in. Exhale, lengthen down with control to the floor, releasing those glutes at the bottom. Arms again come out to the sides. We'll rock those knees side to side as we take a few deep breaths. Try to keep those shoulders pressed down into the mat. Modify your amount of rotation as you need to keep those shoulders down. One more time, side to side. Good. Coming right back to the center. We'll take those hands right down by our sides. Breathe it in. Belly to spine on the exhale. We're going to bridge back up. We're going to lift through some marches. We have 6 marches on each side. Do your best. Maybe we make it to tabletop, or maybe we simply lift a heel up and down. Take it through the range and stability that's working for you. Hips stay level. Here's 3 and 3. Here's 2 and 2. Last one on each. Press those feet into the floor. We'll lift those glutes a tiny bit higher to the ceiling, breathing in. Exhaling, we'll lengthen down to the mat. When those glutes touch the bottom, we're going to move into our 12 to 6 pelvic patterning. Curling and lengthening. Bring the pelvis back to the middle and we'll roll from our 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock positions, rotating through that pelvis. Let's take it back to neutral. We'll cross the leg closest to the screen over that opposite knee. Lift up into figure 4 if you can. And we're going to rock away from that crossed over leg. Feel that hip open up. Take a big breath here. Exhale to the center. And let's switch up those legs. Opposite ankle crosses to the knee. Lift to that figure 4 if you can. And we're going to rock toward that screen away from that crossed over leg. All right, let's come right back to neutral. Unwind, give those knees a hug into the chest. We'll take our feet down, take the heels of the hands right to those hip bones, and keeping that core engaged, we're going to walk our feet out as far as we can. Get those knees as straight as we can, maintaining that neutral pelvis where that bowl of water would stay nice and balanced right between your belly button and your pubic bone. Let's take our arms up to the ceiling. And then as we exhale, bring them back overhead toward the wall behind. How far can you go keeping that chin down, that breastbone down, and those lowest ribs pressed down toward the floor? You should get a nice stretch through the outsides of the arms and through that trunk. Hold where you are. And let's lift one leg and switch it to the other. Transfer that load from side to side. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, last 4, 3, 2, and 1. As we lower those heels, we'll take our arms and arc them down in front of the body. Bend the knees, and we're going to turn ourselves over to hands and knees. All right, find a little happy place for your knees. If you do need that towel roll or to double up your mat, now's a great time to do it. We're gonna align the wrists under the shoulders, the knees under the hips. And let's move through 2 cats and 2 cows before moving on. Curl that belly toward the spine, look toward those thighs. Reverse, take it the other way. Curl to cat, reverse to cow. Coming back to neutral, we'll wag that tail side to side. Take a hip to each shoulder. Coming right back to neutral, let's move into our shoulder taps. Take a hand to the opposite shoulder and switch it up. We're gonna alternate here. We'll be doing a few of these. If you want, as you wanna make it harder, we could walk ourselves out toward plank on the knees, even turning those toes under, walking up to that high plank. Knees come back to the mat. It is fine to stay up all the way on all fours the whole time here. It's just the option to move through our positions. We're going to move forward again or stay in that all four position. Lift up to plank if you can. Knees come back down. Keep that tap going as we move through our plank on the knees and all the way back to our hands and knees position. Turn those toes back underneath. And we're gonna walk the bottom back. Just rock it toward the heels, walk the hands forward, and then pull right back up to our upright position. Let's squeeze and press through our shoulder blades, working through those scapular push-ups. We feel the muscles on the outer borders of those blades engaging as we press our hand toward the floor. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. We can stay on double arm or we can lift one arm up, moving to single. Good. We have 2 more wherever you are. We can switch it to our other arm. Squeeze and press. Big goal here is to keep those shoulders level and to keep that elbow in the same position as we press through that weight-bearing shoulder blade. Good. Hands come down. Wag that tail side to side. Coming right back to neutral. Keep that core engaged as we slide one leg back and take the opposite arm forward. Just like in the beginning of class, if we had something balanced in the small of the back, we wouldn't want to lose it as we alternate through. Move it through at your own speed. Find something that's working for you, something that's quick enough to challenge your balance, or maybe makes you stay still long enough that those balance muscles start to fatigue and you have to work a little harder. We're gonna hold that opposite. Hold, switch the hands, keep that leg where it is. Shift and lift. Again. Shift and lift. Let's switch legs and switch arms. Opposite leg comes back. Other arm comes forward. Find your balance and hold it. Switch those arms. Leg stays still. Shift and reach. As we shift to balancing on the same side, arm and leg, maybe we just come up to our fingertips versus taking the arm forward. There's always a continuum, always a progression. Let's keep that leg extended as we take our arm back down to the mat. Bend that back knee, flex that foot. Take the knee down and press it toward the ceiling. Lower it down, try to keep that back nice and still. Twice more. And press. One more time. Press and hold. Straighten that leg out. We'll take our toe to the floor, switch it up. Other leg comes back. Lift it up. Lower it down. Lift and lower. Lift and hold. Bend that knee. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Flex that foot. Repeat. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Point those toes. What if we straighten and bend? Straighten it out. Take those toes back to the mat. Let's come back to our all fours position. Shake those wrists out of touch. Feet together, knees come apart. Draw the bottom back to the heels. And we'll walk or slide those hands toward the front of our mat, dropping that forehead to the floor. Take a breath. Breathing out, we're going to walk our hands toward that screen. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's walk in the other direction. Take a big breath in again. Exhaling, walk those hands forward. We're going to drop our forearms down Shift the weight over them. And let's come to rest on those upper thighs just like we did at the beginning of class. Hold it here. Let's test out that upper leg flexibility. Kick a heel toward the bottom and switch. Keep those shoulder blades pressed toward the floor. Switch it up. Maybe we kick it twice now. Challenge that pelvic stability, low back stability as we lengthen out through the thighs. Here's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Press those legs to the floor. Turn the toes under. Let's come up into forearm plank with our knees down first. We'll shift our weight side to side a few times. Maybe we can press up into that full plank on the forearms. Shift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come right back to the middle. Our knees come down. We're going to push ourselves all the way back up to hands and knees. Let's curl through cat, reverse to cow. One more time, curl and reverse. Take it right back to neutral. We're going to come forward into a seated position on our mat. Grab onto those knees. We're going to hold onto those shins, angle the body back just a touch. See if you can take your hands away and feel that core working. If you feel a lot in your back, I want you to bring yourselves up a little bit straighter. We should be feeling that trunk working. We're going to take our hands to the outsides of the thighs now. Press the hands and thighs toward each other. One at a time, we open and shut that arm. Repeat on the other side. Open, bring that arm back in. Switch it up, back to the center. Open and center. Repeat for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's pull ourselves up nice and tall. Get that weight right over the front of the sit bones now. We're going to take our hands back behind the body. We can turn our fingertips toward our feet or press them out to the sides. We'll squeeze those blades and send that breastbone up toward the ceiling. Keeping the elbows straight. If we need to take a little more slack out, we rock that bottom forward toward the heels. We're reaching our breastbone up to the ceiling. This will open up the chest. It's also going to give us a nice stretch through the front of those arms. This should feel like a decent stretch, but it should be comfortable. So modify your position. If you need to take your trunk into a little more of an upright versus a backward arch position, go ahead and do so. Inch the heels toward the bottom. We have 2 more deep breaths to take. We can stay here or come up into our reverse tabletop position. Wherever you are, big breath in. Exhale. One more time, breathe it in. Exhaling, we'll take that bottom down. Shake those wrists out. And we're going to turn into tall kneeling facing our screen. Again, grab your padding if you need to. Double that mat over if you need to. We'll be here for a bit. So the padding will be a little more important. Hands come to the hips. We're going to take one leg out to the side. Press it into the floor. Drop into that squared off hip position. Take a big breath in. Breathing out, hinge the body forward. And inhale, we'll come up tall. Hinge it forward. Inhale up. One more time, hinge. Inhale up. We're going to take our arms out to the side. Take that big breath in. And exhaling, we'll side bend toward our bent knee. Inhale it up. Exhale, side bend the other way. Inhale up. Exhale and side bend. Inhale up. Exhale and side bend. Inhale up. This time we'll side bend and stay where we are. We're going to pulse that leg up and down. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold that leg up there. Keep the thigh still. Bend and straighten that knee for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll exhale, side bend the other way one final time on this side. Let's come back up tall. Hands come to the hips. Switch it up. Other leg comes out. Remember, if you tend to cramp on the side of the hip, bring that foot a little farther forward versus in line with the trunk. Breathe it in and exhale, hinge forward. Inhale up. We have 2 more. Exhale, hinge. Inhale up. Last one. Exhale, hinge. And inhale up. Arms come out to the side. Big breath in. As we breathe out, we'll side bend toward that bent knee. Inhale up and exhale. Reverse it. Inhale up. Exhale and side bend. Inhale up. Exhale, switch it. Inhale up and we'll exhale to the other side. Pause in that side bend. Pulse the leg. Use 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold the leg up their thigh. Stay still. It'll be bend and straighten the knee. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's inhale up tall. Exhale, one final side bend away from that bent leg. Let's come up nice and tall back to our kneeling. We'll roll the blades back and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's make our way all the way down to our side. We'll bend our knees up, lining those heels up with our sit bones and lift that waistline. Top hand presses into the floor. Let's bring our knees up and down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come down, feet lift for 4, 3, 2. Hold them up there. Top knee comes up and down. 3, 2, 1. Bring those knees together. We'll reset, lift that top knee up, straighten and bend the bottom, straighten and bend the top, straighten and bend the bottom leg, straighten and bend the top, twice more each. Last one. Knees come down, feet come down, straighten both legs out. We're gonna lift them both up, lower them down, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Top leg alone. 3, 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Swing the top leg forward. Press it back. Forward and back. Last 2. Last 1. Draw it back. Toes touch down. Take them up. Touch down in front. And lift. Take it back. Lift. Forward and lift. Twice more each. Take it forward. Last one. Take it down. Lift it up. Pulse top leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that leg down. Bend those knees up. We'll pat our hip out and take that top arm toward the screen. Inhale that arm to the ceiling. Exhale. Pelvis stays still. We're going to take that top shoulder back to the floor. Close as we can get it. Inhale the arm up and exhale it forward toward that screen. Let's take ourselves up and over to the other side and repeat. We are in the home stretch. Rest on that bottom arm. Knees are forward. Lift the waistline and press that top arm into the floor. Knees come up and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Lift the feet for 4, for 3, 2, 1. Lift the feet and hold. Top knee comes up and down. 2, and 1. Reset. Top knee comes up. Hold it there. Bottom knee straightens and bends, as is the top. Straighten the top. Twice more each. Last one. Lift and lower. Knees come down, feet come down, straighten those legs. Both of them come up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Top leg comes up and down. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Back to hip height. Swing it forward. Swing it back. Forward and back. 2 more. Last one. Swing it back, toes touch behind. Arc them up and forward. Arc up and back. And forward. Twice more each direction. Last one. Lift that leg to hip height again. Line it up with the body. Pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Everything comes down. Bend those knees. Pat the hip out, and we'll swing that arm forward toward the screen. Inhale it up. Exhale, look over that shoulder. Bring that hand toward the mat. Inhale, arm up. And exhale forward. All right, we are going to push ourselves up to hands and knees. Once we're here, we're going to curl the cat and reverse to cow. Take it back to neutral. Cross the leg farthest from the screen over to that near leg. Grab onto that foot with your hand. Open up that waistline. We're going to draw back toward the heels and then come up nice and tall. We get a little bit of a stretch to that glute when we do this. Rock it back and forth one more time. Uncross those legs. Switch it up. Opposite ankle crosses over. grab the foot, reach it toward that same side shoulder, feel the waistline open up, and then we'll rock back, getting just a touch into that hip on the crossed over side. One more time, back and forth. Unwind, we're gonna turn our toes under. We'll walk our hands back toward our feet. Let's press our weight toward a flat foot. Once the weight's over those ankles, we'll stand up nice and tall and shake those legs out. All right, facing the screen, we'll finish up with a bit of balancing. If you do need something to hold on to, grab a chair, a sofa back, a wall, whatever works best for you. We're gonna line up with our feet parallel to each other. We're gonna shift our weight toward those toes. Keep the weight forward. We'll go up and down on the toes for 8, 7. Try to stay light on those heels as we come down. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shift the weight to one leg. Hold that balance. Shift toward those toes. And again, take it up and down. Try to keep that big toe pressed into the floor. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to flat foot. Switch up those legs. Find that single leg balance with the weight over that ankle joint. Take it forward, up and down on the toes. 7, 6, 5. Follow my count. Speed up or slow down if you need to. Twice more. And 1. Let's step back, standing heel to toe. Find that balance point. I'm going to bring myself all the way onto my mat again. We're going to look side to side. Turn that head, take vision out of it for a minute, and look forward. Switch to the other side. Find that balance in our heel toe stance. Add the head turns if you can. Let's look forward. Let's bring our feet down under our hips, shake out those knees, pause, and we'll roll those shoulders back and down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Good job. Let's bring those feet together. We're going to close with a big breath in, reaching those arms overhead. Palms touch. Look toward those fingertips as we reach into the ceiling. As we exhale, we'll bring everything into our center. All right. As usual, you guys rocked it. Thank you for taking 45 minutes out of your Friday to move with me, and looking forward to next time.